So glad you're still with us on Colorado and Company. I'm Jackie Polisi. Denver music scene has certainly evolved over the years, but some things just never change. For more than 130 years, jazz has filled Denver's City Park. Today, City Park Jazz brings the community together through the love of music. The celebration consists of 10 free concerts on Sundays throughout the summer. And here to tell us more about City Park Jazz and why you need to be there this Sunday is Andy Burkaw and Chad Amon. Thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome. Andy, I want to start with you and talk about your role with City Park Jazz.
Well, I have the fun job.
You have the fun job.
I'm the music director.
Yeah, you do.
So it's a big task, though, because there's so many great bands in Denver and around Colorado. But I get to choose those bands. So I spend a few months reading emails, looking at submissions, listening to music sent to me, and I take a lot of time to put together a 10-week schedule.
I'll bet you do. It probably takes the entire year. Let's talk about how many years the festival has been going on and sort of the history of it.
Okay, so this is City Park Jazz's 33rd season.
Whoa!
Pretty incredible. Started in 1986. Well, it was actually kind of started about 130 years ago, like you were saying.
Yeah.
It's based on a Denver tradition at Farrell Lake in City Park, where there'd be a few concerts and folks would come just hang out in their Sunday best, and ladies would wear the great hats and hang out in the park and watch the bands. Well, in 1986, a group of City Park and Park Hill residents decided they wanted to put together more of a series. They started with a few concerts. 200 to 400 people would show up, and it has evolved to this amazing thing 33 years later with 10 weeks of concerts, and we get upwards of 10,000 people a week sometimes.
That's incredible.
It is incredible.
So who staffs and operates it? Is it?
Well, we are, it's a volunteer organization. Okay. It's run by an amazing and diverse board of directors. People from all walks of life are on this board that work really hard to put this festival on.
Sure.
And we depend on our volunteers to help us get through every Sunday. It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, and it costs money. So how does it get funded?
It does cost money. It costs a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Well, we get money from private organizations. We get grants from charitable organizations, local businesses. Sponsor our events, which really helps. And most importantly, every week we walk around, our volunteers walk around with buckets and ask people in the crowd for donations, because it's free.
Yeah, that's great. Well, there's nothing better than jazz in the park. All right, so what kind of artists? I know you take a lot of pride in booking these bands, so who are we going to see? Who do you like to book?
So it's a jazz festival, but what is jazz? I mean, jazz is a lot. So we really just focus on the roots of jazz. We have traditional jazz, contemporary jazz. We do Latin, Afro-Cuban, R&B, funk, blues. I mean, you name it. This year we covered a lot of bases.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, it was a really incredible season.
Good for you. I know you put a lot of work into that. Anything new and exciting this year in particular?
So this year, well, next week is going to be my very favorite, the Heavy Heavies, and Chad's here, and we'll talk about that in a second. But last week we had 2 weeks ago we had the Brass Band Extravaganza, and we actually extended this concert series by 1 hour. It's usually 6 to 8. This few weeks ago it was 5 to 8, and we had 3 bands instead of 1 band.
Wow.
So 3 incredible brass bands, and at the very end there was 28 musicians on stage all together.
Very fun.
Very fun. It was really cool.
Chad, I want to hear more about the Heavy Heavies.
The Heavy Heavies is kind of an all-star band from this part of the country, and I started as a trio, and little by little I've added and added and added. I use guys from, well, I think there's probably 30 bands represented in the Heavy Heavies. Okay. And this weekend I'm using, I think, 10 or 11, a couple of DJs, multiple singers, including Venus Cruz, and major horn line. It should be a lot of fun. It always is.
That's
and
great.
We're closing this season again, and it's the funnest thing to do in Denver in the summer. City Park Jazz.
I love that you said that. And what do you think of the Denver music scene?
I've played professionally in Denver my entire adult life, and I remember even 20 years ago being interviewed and saying the same thing. And I'll say right now, I think pound for pound, Denver has the best music scene in the United States of America.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, we do, and a lot of it's because we stayed. You know, we're right in the center of the country, but instead of going to the coasts, we love it here.
Yeah.
And so we stayed, and it's the musicianship has just risen and risen and risen, and there's a lot of attention on Denver right now. A lot of bands have come out in the last 8 or 10 years that have been, well, they're now headlining huge, giant festivals all around the world.
Isn't that great? And Andy was talking about how the festival has evolved over the years, but the Denver music scene has also evolved, and you've seen that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. When I first started playing in Denver, there was, it felt like there was 3 or 4 places that you could play, and you needed to play through in order to graduate, let's say, to the next level. Now, Denver's music scene is huge. There are entire camps of music, jazz groups, and alternative rock groups. And so, the one thing about Denver, which is so different than almost any other city, is there's really no fame or ego in Denver. It's a very supportive scene, and all the musicians and all the bands support each other. I guarantee you, this Sunday at City Park, I'll see members from 50 other bands that'll come up and say hi to us, that just come down to check it out.
Well, that's great. It's a very supportive community.
Absolutely.
Chad and Andy, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Of course.
Thank you.
City Park Jazz is a city tradition unlike any other. Celebrate jazz music and the community each Sunday this summer for 10 weeks in Denver's very own City Park. Head to the park on the weekend of August 4th to dance and sing with the Heavy Heavies. For more information and a full 10-week calendar, head to cityparkjazz.org.